Okay, so tonight we're going to cover a couple topics. So the class is on making a stand, riser placement, riser space, and we're going to go through all the stuff that affects acoustics, the acoustics of choral singing, of which barbershop chorus singing is one. We'll go over spacing and some of the things that affect that. We'll answer the myth of blend, why we say blend, and what is probably a healthier approach to that, and all with the idea of preserving and encouraging our singers' best vocal production. Does that make sense? So as you have a question, save it. We have a bunch of content, and we really are passionate about it, and we hope to get through all of what we have prepared. So we really do want to answer all your questions, but I think maybe it would be best just to save them towards the end, unless it's just burning a hole in your heart and you can't hold it in any longer. Okay, so some of the first things that we need to talk about are a couple physics principles, one called the Lombard effect and the other called the self-to-other ratio. Now, in a noisy environment, who here has been to an amusement park or a bar or a restaurant where it's really, really loud, right? The natural tendency of a human is to raise the pitch and the loudness of their speaking to be heard in that noisy environment to overcome the ambient noise. Does that make sense? All have experienced that before? Good answer. It's a naturally occurring phenomenon, and in choral singing that happens frequently. So the closer we get to other singers and the louder it gets, to be able to hear ourselves, we have to also increase that amplitude and well, hopefully not the pitch. Well, unless it's flat, then that's okay. So the problem with that becomes, well, how does that work with the choral spacing and all the guys on the risers, and I'm a leaner and I'm a gleaner and I'm a whatever. So how does all that work? So the closer you are to another sound source, particularly let's say in this case a singer, the less of an ability you have to monitor your own singing. All right? That's so the natural tendency then, because of the Lombard effect, is then to try to out-sing that person or to just back off, right? And neither of those scenarios are ones where we as directors or you as singers are probably desirable. Does that make sense? With me there? We want everybody to sing and we want everybody to have a good time, but we want everybody to use their best voice. So those two factors are coming into play pretty strongly. So this comes into points us to why we're talking about riser spacing. Now, a bunch of studies have been done on, well, should we stand in shotgun formation or should we stand in sectional formation? They've been studying this stuff since the 60s. And the research shows inconclusive. It's too hard to duplicate, and it's too hard. There's too many different variables for us to be able to say definitively there is an acoustic difference between sectional and mixed formation. That makes sense? So my advisor at the University of Kansas, Dr. James Doherty, is this is his body of research, and I got to be a part of it also. And so when he was beginning to study this stuff, he was also trying to find out which was the best formation to stand in, and tried a couple different things, and one of the things that he tried was a wider spacing. That was not what he was intending to study, but that ended up being something that was actually statistically significant and very meaningful to the participants in the study. They actually felt there was an improved sound, and going back and having an expert listener panel listen to it, they noticed that the difference in the tuning because of the spacing. So let's talk about that a little bit. All right, so I'm going to need we're going to need some volunteers. 10 basses, 8 leads, 7 baritones, and 5 tenors. So let's get into the typical chapter chorus standing, which will be shoulder to shoulder. Can we do that? Can we share some friendship here? Let's have an A flat. Anything? All right, we'll sing Heart of My Heart, please. All right, that's not that bad. All right, so now if we could start here in the middle, and let's get elbow to elbow, so we can get be about 2 feet, and then start here in the middle of the risers, and let's get 2 feet side to side, and get it into a window if you can. Try to make that efficient as possible. Can everybody see me? Give us a pitch. Interesting, right? Yeah. Can you hear a difference?
Yeah. Very cool.
What about you in the risers? Do you feel a difference? What do you feel, Jay?
I suddenly heard leads where I didn't the first time.
All right. Now, when you're close to another person, do you hear them pretty well? Yeah. Do you hear yourself anymore?
Yep.
Get back in. Just I want you to feel the pitches, and I want you to feel the space, and I want you to see if you can feel your own, and monitor your own vocal production if you can.
Heart of my heart, I love you. Life would be naught without you.
What's interesting for me as a director is I can hear individual voices like this. Can you hear some too? Yes. Can we? All right. And your job as a singer, can we? Your job as a singer is to use the space on either side of you. Pitch, 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 pitch. Thank you.
Heart of my heart, I love you. Life would be naught without you.
Different?
Much better.
What are the difference between the two for you in the chorus?
I can hear that end of the riser. Before I could only hear the people immediately around me, and I can hear myself better.
Cool.
I can actually understand how I relate to everything going on around me.
Awesome. Let's kick it up a notch. Why don't you in the front come one entire riser's width on front, you on the back row, up. And then you guys in the middle there, see if you can't disperse yourselves a little bit more. Can we go up and fill those spaces up there, please? Give us a pitch again. I feel like I'm way too close. No, you're right.
Heart of my heart, I love you. Life would be naught without you.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool? You guys heard it? All right, so you're in charge of now this entire space around you. This spacing is called circumambient spacing. Circum meaning circle, ambient meaning around area. That's a technical term. And the one that we had just before was lateral, meaning just side to side. Right? Observation, Jay?
Yeah, I realized the first exercise was just the lateral spacing. I noticed I could hear across the chorus and the tuning was better. But in this spacing, I felt all of a sudden that I was shouting less. I didn't feel like I was shouting the first time, but all of a sudden now I was like, hey, I have more control over my own voice now.
Cool. Is that kind of the consensus of the experience? Yeah. Anybody hate this?
No, it's really great.
Oh, good. All right. Does that make sense? So the sectional versus mixed formation, that doesn't have an acoustic effect. But this spacing has an acoustic effect. It encourages us as singers to use our best voice rather than whatever you're dealt with because you're with the person next to you. You burning a hole in your heart, the question?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
It wasn't a question, it was a comment.
Okay, comment.
It felt fuller.
Felt fuller, yeah. Yeah. It's going to encourage an easier phonation because of you don't have to try quite so hard. And acoustically speaking, there's a 2 decibel difference between the overtones between a close spacing and a circumambient spacing. So there is an acoustic benefit to it. That's over the course of the studies that have been done.
And maybe just to piggyback off of a couple of things that Steve was saying, so on top of hearing more of the ensemble rather than just the 2 people that are next to us, there are some other benefits of standing wider. One is that we get to use more of the curve of the risers, so we're going to hear across the ensemble a little bit better. The other thing is that if we stand wider, depending on how we position ourselves, we can greatly impact the perception people have of the size and maybe even the capability of our ensemble. So if you've seen our chorus perform before, we stand with quite a lot of space between us, horizontally and vertically. We stand, the front row does stand about 2 feet out from the front row. The second row stands on the first step. Then we skip a riser completely, leaving it empty, and then the third row goes on the third step. So that we try to have 2 feet horizontally and 2 feet vertically. In doing so, people generally overestimate the size of our chorus by a factor of 2. So the very first time that that I was directing and that we won our district contest, there were a bunch of people that came out and said, "Wow, Rob, the chorus has gone so much bigger. You had like 50 people up there." And I'm like, "We were 25." You know, and so the amount of impact that we have influences perception of the group. So oftentimes we are going to hear what we see. So don't underestimate the impact difference you can change depending on how you present yourself. If you are,
let me just jump
yes.
in real quick. Like Rob, I go around coaching courses too, and even in small choruses of 12, 14, 16, 20, this has a great impact on the chorus. Not only did they get to feel like the ensemble sounds larger, like some of you were indicating, it seemed like it was fuller and easier to sing. Yeah, that perception of, wow, we are a big chorus and we make a big sound, that helps the singer a lot. So I see the impact with little choruses and great big choruses. You know, I've coached choruses with 50 or 60 or 70 people, and the effect is the same. I keep thinking, this time it's not going to work. No, that was cool. No, it's impactful every time.
Yeah, and what Steve was saying, the perception works both ways, right? So the perception of the audience is that, wow, this is I'm going to sit up more, this is a big group, I'm going to pay attention. But there's also an effect on the ensemble of, okay, we're a little tiny group, we're sorry for being here, versus like, yeah, we're a big group now.
16 guys, 5 risers, all right.
Right. Right. So there's there's a psychological impact both on the performer and on the listener, which I don't think can be underestimated. And then certainly in settings like I see a few directors in the room that have choruses that go to international competition, or sometimes we're at a choral festival where there are microphones spread out across the risers. Well, the impact is different if you are standing under all of the hanging microphones versus if you are like clumped under one hanging microphone. So another small but I think important detail to keep in mind is, how are we using the sound reinforcement on stage, and are we taking advantage of all of it? So now transitioning to what do we talk about by voice placement? Love us or hate us, the comment that our chorus gets more often than any other, in fact we hear it on repeated loop over and over and over again, is, your sections sound like one voice. We hear that exact sentence over and over and over again. And how do we achieve this? Is by never ever working on blend. In fact, the word blend has never been spoken in a rehearsal a single time.
Punchline.
Was that?
A punchline.
Yeah. And in the world according to Rob, blend is the most evil of all evildoms. So what is blend by definition is, I'm asking you to take your best vocal production. You showed up with your best instruments, and now instead of that, I want you to sound like her. Or I want her to sound like you. Or you know what? Like, she's won some medals, so I want both of you to imitate her. Do I want you to sound like her? No, if I want her sound, I would get her, right? So when do voices fit the best together is when you're at your most efficient, you're at your most efficient, and you're at your most efficient. And what we find is that more efficient goes together better with more efficient, goes together better with more efficient without working on anything else. So when are we going to fit the best together is with it when we're all using our own voice and the best version of that voice. So let's see. So let's take the front row as an example here. Would any of us in the room confuse any one of them for another person in the front row? Pretty unlikely, right? We all have different instruments because we're all built differently. Do our speaking voices sound the same from one another? No, right? We are going to have inherently different qualities to our voices because we have different instruments, because we're built differently. And try as we will never sound like each other. And so trying to sound like each other is taking you from your most efficient production away from that towards something less efficient, toward an objective we can never achieve. So when do we create the most blended tone is by not blending all, it's by bringing our full instrument to the party. Having said that, how do we accomplish that without voices sticking out of the texture? Something we already talked about today. And that is, so those of us that have been doing this a while, how many of you have had the experience of standing on the risers next to somebody where you know they're a good singer and you know you're a good singer, and yet singing next to them is miserable? In fact, you can't wait till the director replaces you somewhere else because your voices are doing all this all the time and you hate it, right? Been there, done that, some of us? Yes. So, by minimizing events where voices are doing this against each other and maximizing cases where voices are reinforcing each other, so if we put the most similar voices next to each other, and they are reinforcing each other as opposed to fighting with each other, we can start with a dramatically different sound with the exact same people. That we have shifted the starting line without even working on anything. And that we can rehearse in a more efficient way with the same chorus. Cool? Let's demonstrate that a little bit. So why don't we have all the basses come down front here and all the other sections, if you can chill on the risers. Basses, you all know the song Row, Row, Row Your Boat? Excellent. Okay, here we go. We all have the pitch. Here we go, Row, Row, Row Your Boat. And?
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
That's a pretty darn good bass section, isn't it? I think we all want to take you home with us, right? Yeah. I know I do. Okay, so the rules of this game are when I point to you, you start at the beginning of the song. When I point to the next person, they start at the beginning of the song and you stop singing. I will take stunned silence as a good thing. Awesome. Here we go. All set, and.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row,
Row, row, row your boat. 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 Row, row, row your boat.
Try you there. That might need some adjustment.
Row, row, row your boat. Row.
One more time.
Row, row, row your boat. 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 Row, row, row your boat.
Yeah, let's try that. Okay, this might need a little bit of massaging, but let's find out. Okay, here we go. So 2 at a time. So this is the most complicated part of this. Just keep saying to yourself, I'm going to sing twice, I'm going to sing twice, I'm going to sing twice. So you're going to sing with the neighbor on this side and then the neighbor on that side. Trust me, it's the most complicated part. Here we go. 2 at a time.
Row, row, row your boat. 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 Row, row, row your boat.
All of you are easily entertained. All right, I think we got it. I think we got it. So now we're going to listen to the row and see what happened. And again, see if we can see if we can maintain that spacing. Good. Here we go. Basses, row, row, row. All together, all the way through, and.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
So we accomplished this by having each person try to sound like each other, right? No, we don't want each person to sound like each other. We want everybody to contribute their instrument to the party. We want everybody to contribute their instrument to the party. When we get the full breadth of different sounds in our chorus, that's when we get the richest tone. Audience, you reacted to the sound that you heard. What did you hear? Bigger, huge, clear. One voice. Fuller. Yeah, these are all great adjectives to describe what we heard. We do better when we use the word one. and there's no problem with that, because I would call this a very blended sound. There's nothing wrong with saying that. We just don't want to accomplish this by trying to have everybody sound like each other.
Yeah, we don't want anybody to compromise their technique for somebody else.
That's right. Yes, sir.
I'm going to pare back one of your phrases, which is efficiency of sound.
Aha.
That was very efficient.
Yeah.
Without a lot of pressure.
We haven't even done anything vocal production-wise.
I know, but it's good.
Right, so we haven't even started working with the singers on vocal technique or anything like that, right? And so that's why we can shift the starting line with the exact same singers. Right, this is before we start working on anything. Before we start working vocal technique or the songs that we're preparing for contest, we just moved the starting line. So, and this is with one section. So you can kind of anticipate where the results are going from here once we multiply it through an entire chorus. So, before I forget this part, because I always forget this part, where is the best place to be in the row? The answer is in the row. Why did I use row, 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 row your boat? You can use any kind of simplistic song. So we use a simplistic song like Row, Row, Row Your Boat or Happy Birthday or something like that. Sometimes if you say, okay, basses, we're going to take the bass solo to This Is the Moment, and then you get bass, This is the Moment, and they start using some just bizarre voice trying to show off to their peers. So hopefully it doesn't always work, but hopefully by using some little simplistic song, we start to hear more of their natural voice and less of the, hey, I'm going to show you how bad of a bass I am, right? So that's why we use something like that. Good. So yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Basses, you're going to remember your numbers? Thank you, basses. Leads, let's have you come down front.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat, row, row, row your boat.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't think it came that big.
We were thinking one really long one.
Yeah. So remember, when somebody else starts to sing, that's when, as beautiful as your voice is, we don't want to hear you anymore. Love you, man. All right, here we go. And?
Row, 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 row your boat. 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 Row, row, row your boat.
So, yeah, we're going to bring the holes of the ears. Do you mind if I play with your head?
No.
Okay. That's okay? Yeah. So we're just going to bring the holes of the ears back over the highest part of the shoulders and long back of neck, short front of neck. Long back of neck, short front of neck. Good. And just soften the neck. So all we want to do is hold the head up, nothing more than that. Here we go. Take it away. Sing.
Row, row, row your boat.
Good. Much better. Here we go. And?
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row.
And keep moving the head back. So this just to say that if we have the instrument out of alignment, or if we're doing anything that compromises the efficiency of the instrument, there's nowhere where we're going to be able to put the voice where we're not going to be able to hear it sticking out, unless we have everybody jack with their necks in such a way. Right? So we want to definitely make sure that we're all at our most efficient. So just keep thinking long back of neck, short front of neck. So that's long front of neck, long back of neck. Yes. Now soften, soften, soften. There we go. And?
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your Row, row, row your boat.
One more time.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Yeah, keep thinking about bringing that. Yes. And?
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, sorry. Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row,
Wow.
row your boat.
Row, row, row.
Are you two related? I'm sorry you had to find out this way. I'm such a doofus, I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. And?
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your
Good, let's have you go right there. Good, so two at a time, and again, space ourselves. Keep going. Keep going. All right, here we go. Two at a time. And?
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Two at a time again.
Row, row, row your boat.
Two at a time.
Row, row, row your boat.
Two at a time.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row.
Here we go. Two at a time.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
So depending on what you do with your neck is going to influence where you are in the line. So if we come forward, we don't belong there anymore. Yeah. So try it one more time. So yeah, really bring the head back and then really lengthen the back of the neck. There we go. Yeah.
Row, row, row your boat.
It's my brother.
So I think the audience liked one better than the other, if you care what they think. Okay, good. Yeah, so we're going to keep thinking about bringing the head back and then lengthening the back of the neck.
Row, row, row your your boat.
Good. I think we got it. I think we got it. Good, good, good. And yes, yep, good. Here we go. All 8 or whatever we are here. And
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
good. So when I'm listening to all 8 singers, now again, the smaller the section gets, we might not have every little bit of the spectrum as much as, say, if we had a 30-person section. But even with a 3-person section, we are still going to have, we're still going to have positive effects from it. As I'm listening to the entire row, I'm listening, can I hear any individual voices sticking out? At the beginning, we didn't. As it got high, we did. So what that tells me is that some of the singers decided to play with their instruments, right? And then the sound kind of came apart. So specifically singers on this side, make sure that we're staying along, and not just you this time, but everybody on this side. Because again, if we're putting the instrument out of alignment, then there's nothing we can do standing wise that's gonna make a unified sound. Here we go. Try it one more time. Same thing. And
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
good with that? Yeah. Yeah. Better. Good job, leads. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you, leads. Baritones, let's have you come down. Here we go. Leads all together. And
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
here we go. One at a time.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Right here.
Row, row, row your boat.
Good. And again.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row
Yeah.
your boat.
I think I have you in the wrong spot.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Good. Think about it.
Row, row, row your boat.
Yeah.
Row, row, row your boat.
Do you mind if I come play with you? Okay. Here we go. So we're just going to bring the head a little bit further back and up and long back of neck, long back. So that's long front of neck, long back of neck. Yeah, gentle stretch there and soften the neck. There we go. And
Row, row, row your boat.
yeah. So did we hear a lot of, yeah, yeah. We can show some love. That's okay. So the first couple times we heard some little cracky, raspy noise elements in the tone, and then when we adjusted the alignment, those all went away, yeah? When we had just a very, very clear tone. It's almost like they're related. Yeah, so every single time. So long back of neck, short front of neck, a gentle stretch in the back here. Good. Try it one more time and soften the neck. Yeah. Go for it.
Row, row, row your boat.
Yeah, nice job. One more time.
Row, row, row your boat.
Oh, hi, microphone. Okay, one more time.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Right here. And keep shifting down. Yeah, you can probably shift like all the way down. So we're putting about 2 feet between us again. Good. All right, here, 2 at a time. Here we go, 2 at a time. And?
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
2 at a time.
Row, row, row your boat. 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 Row, row, row your boat.
So again, and long back and neck. There we go. Good, 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 good. Let's see, 2 together.
Row, row, row your boat.
2 together.
Row, row, row your boat.
So you're going, yep. There we go. We got it. Good. And?
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row.
Yeah, it's the hardest part. Here we go.
Row, row, row your boat.
Good. I think we got it. Yeah. So we use our ears to get kind of our best guess, and then we can fine tune if, as we're going down the row, something feels like it gets out of order, then we can sort of fine tune. Good. I think we have it. Baritones. Here we go. And?
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
4.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
2 together. 2.
Row, row, row your boat.
2 together.
Row, row, row your boat.
Good. 5.
Row, row, row your boat.
So how much of a difference does just moving 2 people? Quite a lot. Quite a lot. Here we go. Baritones one more time. All together now. And?
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
So I think we would agree that last time was pretty darn good. This time was better, and that was just shifting 2 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you, baritones. Tenors, let's bring you down. Row, row, row. Here we go, tenors.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Yeah, we'll give you overs. Here we go.
Row, row, row your
So
boat.
again, just, yeah, there we go.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row
Good, right there.
Row, row, row your boat.
Right there.
Row, row, row your boat.
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 Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
So again, also, bring that back. I know. I do that to people.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
One more time.
Row, row, row your boat.
Yeah, just relax the body a little bit. Here we go. And?
Row, row, row your boat.
Good. Yeah. One more time.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Let's try you in here. This might need a lot of massaging. Let's find out. Here we go. 2 together.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row,
Again, 2 together.
Row, row, row your boat.
Do you mind if I play with you too? Is that okay? Do you mind if I adjust things? Okay, so we're going to bring the head quite a lot further back, over the shoulders and then long back and neck. And now soften the neck. Here we go. Try that. Sing.
Oh. Roll, roll, roll your boat.
So see if you see how I can move your head now? See if we can keep it that way as you sing. Here we go. And
Roll, roll, roll your boat.
good. Good, 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 good. 2 together. And
Row, row, row your boat. 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 Row, row, row your boat.
2 together.
Row, row, row your boat.
2 together.
Row, row, row your boat.
Yeah. So the breaking that we're hearing in the voice is all neck, right? Here we go. 2 together.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row. Oh.
Yeah, it's all good. I love the enthusiasm. Okay, good, 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 good. Okay, let's find out. Also, tenors say row, row, row.
Row, row, row.
Yeah, so if we're not all singing the same vowel, again, we're not going to sound very unified, right? So do we want to blend voices? No. Do we want to unify vowel sounds? Yes. Yeah, here we go. Tenors all together. Yeah, check spacing. Good. Excellent. And?
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Yeah, so I think this is one section. So the other sections we would have probably all said, hey, that's a pretty good result, and it got better. I think this section might be one where we'd say like, ooh, that's a pretty disunified sound the first time they sang all in a row, and now we have something that's, again, much more blended, right? Good. So very frequently I will rehearse my chorus in a circle like this, and when we're either sitting or standing in sections in number order. Why do we do that is because if we're sitting in any other order in our sections, we're going to rehearse at a less efficient rate. If I send my sections off to sectional, I'm going to want them to rehearse in this order as well, until we reorder them, which might be in another 3 or 4 months, because we get new people, we lose some people, people's voices change through life. So we want to do that maybe 3 or 4 times a year, but we're going to rehearse in this order to rehearse at our most efficient level. And we do that to build the ensemble sound of each section. What we're going to do now is we're going to create one big ordering of the chorus, which is then going to dictate how we're going to throw people up on the risers. So we're going to get one big ordering, and that voice placement is going to determine how we throw people up on the risers. Throwing people up on the risers comes down a little bit to personal preference, tonal preference. The fundamental principle being, again, that we want to minimize voices clashing and maximize voices that are more likely to reinforce each other. I mean, that's the Uber principle. How you do it comes down to a tonal preference. I'll show you mine. Good, but for now, let's get a big ordering of this lovely chorus. So let's take an F, please. And who is my first bearer? And we're going 1 and 2. Okay, good. Who's my last baritone? Actually, I'll take you first if you want to come this way. Here we go. And row, row, row your boat. One more time. Row, row, row your boat.
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 Yeah, just relax.
Row, row, row your boat.
So anybody who was at general session for yesterday's warm-up, and we talked about how muscle tension anywhere in the body means tension in the voice? Yeah. We just had an example of that, didn't we? Yeah.
I got rid of all of it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Here we go.
Row, row, row your boat.
One more time. There you go.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row,
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat.
Let's go right in here. All right, so space yourselves as much as you can, evenly, so. Okay, so we're gonna go 2 at a time. Remember, this is the hardest part. Keep saying, I'm gonna sing twice, I'm gonna sing twice, I'm gonna sing twice. Yes, all right. Yeah, this is a universal truth. This is the hardest part. Let's call this half-ish. Yes. Half-ish. So this is kind of, yeah, half-ish. So everybody here, all the way through, and.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Yeah, that's. So what am I listening for when we go all the way through it is, can I hear any individual voice sticking out? That time, nothing was setting off alarm bells for me, and I see people, shaking their head as well, that we didn't hear anybody sticking out. The goal of what we're doing here is that everybody can bring their full instrument to the party, not change it or modify it in any way at all, and us as directors and audience members, we're not going to hear a single voice sticking out. How many people in this room have ever been a part of a chorus where you've been told to back off, or sing brighter, or sing darker, or sing more forward? We want to let you use your voice, your full voice, nothing but your voice, and your unmodified voice. We want you to bring your full instrument to the party, and that's what this is about here. I don't want you to back off. I don't want you to sing brighter. I don't want you to sing darker. I want you to be you. Cool? Let's call this half-ish. Here we go. Ready?
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Good. So there's a little something, something tweaking my ear over here. So I'm going to listen to 1, 2, 3, 4, and.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream.
Good. 2 at a time. And.
Row, row, row your boat.
2 at a time.
Row, row, row your boat.
2 at a time.
Row, row, row your boat.
2 at a time.
Row, row, row your boat.
2 at a time.
Row, row, row your boat.
I'll leave.
Let's have you come over here. Yes. And let's have you two flip. Let's hear what this sounds like. Try both of you flipping. Good. 2 at a time. This might need a little massaging. Here we go.
Row,
So just these two guys.
row, row, row your boat.
I like that. 3.
Row, row, row your boat.
Let's try flipping you back. 2.
Row, row, row your boat.
Back you go. 2.
Row, row, row your boat.
3.
Row, row, row your boat.
4.
Row, row, row your boat.
5.
Row, row, row your boat.
Half-ish. Half-ish.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Yeah, yeah. So that little thing that was tweaking my ear before is gone, so we did some more fine-tuning. Now let's listen to the whole circle. Here we go. How's our F doing? Excellent. Everyone? Here we go. All?
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Awesome. So now the big circle number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. Awesome singers. Yay. So I am going to share with you my kind of preference for stacking the risers. Again, what's the most important thing is that these guys are somewhere near each other and probably not interspersed with these guys. Because that's the case where we're going to have a little bit more fight. Voices are going to be trying to keep up with each other, a situation we want to avoid. Yes?
To the extent you want to keep the young guys away from each other also?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yes, we would not want to
Right,
put
okay.
lowest number and highest number next to each other. That's going to create a little bit of this. So that's the fundamental thing, is keeping the most similar voices next to each other. The how you do it comes down to tonal preference. Mine is that we put the highest number, 34, back row middle, and number 1 is going to be front row side on one side or the other. So we're fanning out biggest number on top to smallest on the outside front. So biggest number top middle to lowest numbers fanning out in that direction. That's just a tonal preference thing. The way you do it again is you can play with it. Also, what I try to do is, if in barbershop music especially, my experience is, where do I create the best ensemble sound is if I'm a bass, I'm not going to have a bass standing next to me. And ideally, if I'm a bass, I'm going to have 2 different parts standing next to each other. Because in barbershop, what do we like to do? We like to harmonize. Yes, we like to harmonize. We don't show up to rehearsal every week saying, hey, I can't wait to sing in unison, right? So when we give our singers the opportunity to harmonize, my experience is that's when we get the best ensemble sound, when we get the most unified sound. And so I will really strive not to put singers of the same section next to each other, exception. So, exception is sometimes when visiting a Sweat Alliance, Harmony Inc. Labs women's chorus, very frequently those choruses will be underpopulated in the bass section. And even if they are populated enough into the bass section, the amount of ladies who really are true, essentially contraltos, who can just wallop the low notes down there is very low. And what is the balance that we tend to go for in barbershop music? Is that way. What does the efficiency of a woman's voice look like? So the higher a woman sings, the more efficient her instrument is. This makes singing barbershop for women very challenging. Does it make it impossible? No, there are some just outstanding examples of it. Yes, some just phenomenal groups. Does it make it challenging? Yes. And so sometimes we will need to reinforce the bass sound a little bit more. And so my one exception is sometimes with women's choruses, and maybe sometimes in men's choruses where the balance is really dramatically off, we're going to have to reinforce one section, so we might cluster some of them together to bulk up the sound. I still do not favor smushing all of one section together. So I personally don't favor an all bass wedge in the middle. Again, tonal preference thing. So even if we're looking to really bulk up the bass sound, I might shove a lot of the basses toward the middle, but still have a couple of voices in there. Just, again, my experience is if we have one section in the center, we really segment the sound. We kind of create 3 choruses out of it where they're all in slightly different keys and slightly out of sync with each other. It doesn't create a very unified sound to my ear, to my preference, my bias. Good. So, yeah, we're going to throw you right here on the X. And just as you come up, let me know what section you're in. Yeah, so I'll ask where are basses, where are baritones, and so on. So we have bass, tenor. And we have tenor. Oh, perfect. That's lovely. Good. So let's have you go right now. Yeah, and lead. Perfect. I love this. Okay, this is working out well so far. Good. Bass. And we'll have you go, sorry, right here. Bass, bass. And you were tenor, right? So let's, and what are you? Baritone. Baritone. Okay, that works out well. So let's actually have you come here. Yeah. And then floor, but 2 feet forward. There we go. Yeah, it feels really weird at first for the front row, but they get used to it pretty quickly. So we'll have you go here. Good. Baritone. Baritone, and you're Lead, so let's throw you top. So top, by top I mean third step.
Baritone.
And your baritone as well. Oh, this is the gaggle of baritones, isn't it? Okay. All right, let's throw you to the top then. Baritone, let's first step. Barry, first step. Front row. Finally. Ugh. Okay. And you are bass. Perfect. Front.
Bass.
Leads. Let's hear just the first line of Heart of My Heart. Here we go. Heart of My Heart. And.
Heart of my heart, I love you.
Okay, not bad, not bad. Since we're kind of overpopulated in baritones, Ben, can we ask you to switch to lead?
Sure.
Here we go. Same thing, leads now with Ben added.
Heart of my heart, I love you.
Good. Basses, where are you? So happier with that. Okay, let's hear what that sounds like. The first line, basses, and.
Heart of my heart, I love you.
Basses and leads together. Here we go, basses and leads, and.
Heart of my heart, I love you.
Pretty happy with that, pretty happy. Baritones, where are you? That's crazy. Okay, good. But again, how often in our choruses do we have exactly the perfect balance, right? I mean, we all go through this. We all go through these challenges. Here we go. Baritones by yourselves, and? Baritones want to listen to the pitch one more time? Yeah, try not to hum during the pitch. Try it one more time. Pretty good. Let's hear bass baritone together.
Heart of my heart, I love you.
Pretty delightful. Pretty delightful. Lead baritone together, please. So baritones, you're in quite a different key from us at the moment. I still love you.
Heart of my heart, I love you.
Try it one more time. So we're just hearing a little bit of baritones. We're just, again, a little bit sitting on the sad side of the pitch. Here we go, one more time. And?
Heart of my heart, I love you.
Better, better, better. Let's take the bottom trio, no tenor. Bottom trio, no tenor.
Heart of my heart, I love you.
Pretty good, pretty good. Tenors, where are you again? Good. Excellent. Tenors, let's hear you by yourselves. Here we go. Tenors, and.
Heart of my heart, I love you.
Yeah, tenors, take a second to just adjust. It sounds like some of us are very out of alignment and very tense. Here we go, one more time. And?
Heart of my heart, I love you.
Good. I think we need to do a little limbo again over here. Yeah, just, I want you to keep moving your body as you sing. I'm sorry, I forget your name. Yes, yeah. Like literally, I want you to keep doing this as you're singing. Just keep moving, because if it's it, what's that?
Okay, I'll die.
Yeah, yeah. So just do this, like just move your body. Yeah, don't overthink it, otherwise we'll send you to the baritone section. I'm watching you. Here we go. Tenors by yourself one more time, and.
Heart of my heart, I
Good, good. I like the choreo. Keep it. Leads and tenors, please. Leads and tenors. Sorry, here we go. One more time. And.
Heart of my heart, I love you.
Good. Yeah. So tenors and baritones, we like to just sit down in the key just a little bit. So keep thinking a little higher. Tenors and basses, please. And.
Heart of my heart, I love you.
Pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Let's hear top trio, no bass. Top trio, no bass.
Heart of my heart, I love.
Yeah. So tenors, I hope you're not happy with that. I can tell you I'm not. And again, so again, check the alignment, or I can come check it for you. And again, free up the instruments. Again, any excess tension anywhere in the body means tension in the voice. Here we go, one more time. Top trio, no bass, and.
Heart of my heart, I love you.
Tenors, can all of you go to purely falsetto? I don't want any of you to sing in full voice. All falsetto. And.
Heart of my heart, I love you.
Yeah, keep that. And we'll have a sectional to fix that note. Good. Here we go, 4 parts. Tenors all just staying in falsetto. Here we go, 4 parts, and.
Heart of my heart, I love you.
Not bad, not bad, not bad. Let's see what happens. So leads, where are we again? Good. So leads on the outside, let's try switching you. So each outside lead, so 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, if you can switch in one position with your neighbor. There we go. Good, 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 good. Here we go, one more time. Let's hear just leads and basses together, and.
Heart of my heart, I love you.
4 parts.
Heart of my heart, I love you.
I think we'd agree that that one is better than the previous, right? So what we've done here is maybe we've sacrificed a little bit of the putting the most ideal combinations together for the reality of what we have, which is we don't want our melody clear out to the outside. Just like in general, we almost never, other than a solo in a quartet, have the melody singer stuck out to one side, right? We tend to have them toward the middle. So that our harmony parts have something to tune to. So sometimes we compromise dealing with the reality of what we have. Let's go all the way through the song, shall we? Here we go, double checking. Good.
Heart of my heart, I love you. Life would be naught without you. Light of my life, my darling.
Nicely done. So remember, these results that we're hearing here, this is actually before we started working on the music, right? We haven't actually even started yet. So this is just, as I said, it's shifting the starting line so that we can rehearse at a more efficient level. And again, hopefully everybody can bring their own voice to the party without compromise. And ideally, we don't hear any voices sticking out. Do you have any questions for Steve or I?
Yeah, Rob?
Yes.
When we rehearse then at night, do we sit in this order or in sections?
Again, it really comes down to a preference. So he asked, when we rehearse, what do we use? Do we use the big order? Do we use section order? I can tell you what Central Standard does. If you added up the entire year, added up all the rehearsal time, we probably spend about 2/3 to 3/4 of the year sitting or standing in the circle in section order, building the ensemble sound of each section. Probably on average, yeah, probably 2/3 of the time to 3/4 of the time, and then we spend 1/3 to 1/4 of the time on the risers in this kind of mixed formation where I try to not put singers in the same section next to each other as much as possible on the risers, and again, maintaining the spacing that Steve talked about earlier in the night. And that is very dependent on where we are in the rehearsal process. So January, February, we're learning new songs for International. Do we even put up the risers? No, there's no need for them. June, we're 2 weeks away from competing at International. We warm up in the circle, we spend the whole rest of the night on the risers. So it's very much, we answer the question, where are we in the rehearsal process, that determines how we rehearse. And then certainly, anytime that we're in sectional, we'll be in that order that I put the section in. If I send duets together, so basses and baritones go off and have a duet rehearsal together, leads and tenors go off and have a duet together, I do 2 different variations on that. One is we'll have the baritones in order, then the basses in order, or I might have the basses sort of really space themselves out in order, and then the baritones in their order kind of intersperse themselves into the baritone section, also in order. So you can do kind of variations on a theme. But again, where we are in the rehearsal process dictates what happens. Good question.
Yes, I had a question. When you tested the leads and the baritones, you had them down at like an F or so. Is there a reason for that, or because like if we spend more of our time toward the middle or the top of our range, would it make sense to check the timbre in those ranges?
It would, especially if we know that we have a section or some sections where their tone varies a lot depending on where they are in the range. Ideally, we're working to have a consistent sound top to bottom. If we're not there yet, it very much makes sense to test that. But you know, that the key where we were having everybody sing in, you just try to pick one that's not too high for the basses and not too low for the leads and tenors. But certainly, if we have like, oh boy, I know my leads sound really different down there than they do up there, yeah, we're going to want to test it in a few different ways. Good question.
Just curious, you had us matched up all the way around, and then when you placed us on the risers, you just kind of randomly placed us.
So what I did was, again, our highest number went here, and then how did I place people was just going blunk, 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 blunk. So sort of putting V's moving outward, and the kind of randomness of it was to avoid sections standing next to each other. Now again, we're compromising a little bit the most ideal pairing standing next to each other, but again, I as a director, as an audience member, I like hearing symmetrical sound in front of me. And so if we have like all the big numbers over here moving to it's going to be a kind of lopsided sound. Again, it comes down to a tonal preference more than anything else.
But just to add on to that, it's not like he put a 1 next to a 12. A 12 is next to more of the higher numbers anyway, or more of the lower numbers anyway. We're not getting really disparate That's so you can not feel like you have to compete with the voices around you, regardless of the section that they're singing in.
So, yeah, so can we switch these two guys and probably not have, you know, too much of a terrible result? Probably. Can we flip people on opposite ends? Yeah, can we take people from the center and do that? Yeah. And again, let your ear be the final arbiter. You know, theory is one thing, but let your ear be the final, like, hey, that really should work, but man, it sounds terrible. You know, now, where do we not want to go is, I'm going to switch you with you. That is probably one move that's not going to work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
When you're matching voices in the circle,
Yes.
can you define what you're listening for in terms of the difference between a 1 and a 20?
Yes. Yeah, and absolutely. So he asked, can I define what it is that I'm listening for as I'm placing voices kind of in this continuum? I actually have several continuums going on in my head at once. So we're listening to maybe brighter to darker, lighter voices to heavier voices, you know, a little bit more airy, a little bit more tone. So I have several continuums going at once. I think the, you know, lighter voices to heavier voices is probably the biggest, has the biggest impact there. And again, you just use your best, pardon me?
Which is which? 1 to 20, which is heavier, which is lighter?
Lighter 1, 20 heavier. And again, but you'll notice one thing is I don't ever want to place labels on any voices, right? Our voice is our voice. It is what it is. And so you're not a 1, you're not a 2, you're not a 3. You are you, right? And so I very consciously avoid placing labels upon singers. It's, you know, for a variety of reasons. So, cool.
So would you recommend using this technique of voice placement in like a high school, middle school, elementary? And this is kind of a silly thing, but like when you get into like the lower ages, like you get like the big height disparagement. And so like, how do you deal with that? Is it just more like tweaking it front to back, or like what you said, like side to side?
So yeah, he asked, would we use this situation in high school, middle school, elementary school? Yes, all of the principles that Steve and I talked about are applicable to any age group. So if any time I'm doing a high school or middle school, you know, district honors choir, something like that, we have a day-long thing. Do I take the time to voice place 150 middle schoolers? Yes, I do.
I've done it with 3rd grade and 5th grade. And, yeah.
You've done it with 3rd grade and 5th grade?
Yeah, and it was not hard.
Yeah, exactly. And the more you do it, the more that you experiment. Like at first, is it like really slow? Yes. Eventually, you can just go, you know, you there, go, and it doesn't take all that long. So the more you do it, the faster you get at it. But the benefits are going to be there no matter what kind of group you're dealing with. Good question. Yes, over the back.
Not necessarily the voicing, but like from a spacing standpoint, how would you go across a chorus like Ambassadors that's like 130?
Build a bigger stage. So the question was, how do you deal with a chorus that's 130, 150 people?
There's a variety of things you can do. According to our contest and judging rules, I verified this again this morning with Chris Beekler, you can't add risers to the side. That's against the contest and judging rules. That it isn't anything to say about how deep you can go. You know, we can have virtual rows here in the front. You're limited by the venue a lot of the times. I will say the you know, optimal spacing here seems to be about 2 feet shoulder to shoulder, particularly for that first step, that first riser. Might be slightly closer on the front and slightly wider in the back. The bottom line is some spacing is better than no spacing, acoustically. There are sociological factors which we didn't even talk about, like he used to sing in a quartet with him and they can't stand next to each other. That's all another thing. But But the spacing is, some spacing is better than the other spacing, just to mitigate the effects of the Lombard effect.
No, I have kind of the opposite problem. I have a 30-man, 25, 30-man chorus. We only have 5 now basses. 3 basses got transferred out of town last week. So, yeah. So what do I do to keep the bass sound? I'm the director, so I can't, unless I sing. It's been discussed. What could we do to maximize our bass section, given the fact that balance-wise, we're about half of what we need to be?
Okay, so the question was, if we have a section that suddenly finds themselves underpopulated, you said 3 of your singers suddenly got transferred out of town, now we have a balance issue, what do we do? So 2 things I'll be thinking of immediately is, 1, I'll be looking to cluster them together a little bit more than I otherwise would, just so that hopefully they're really reinforcing each other, possibly moving them toward the center of the sound. But then also, I can tell you in my chorus, if we're faced with that situation, I am immediately going through the Rolodex in my mind of who are the 2 or 3 people that are going to be learning bass next week. You know, and these are things that we do, you know, as much as possible. We work with the setup that we have, but we're constantly working to make the setup a bunch better. So 2 weeks before Pittsburgh, I'm not even joking, so last year's international contest, 2 weeks before Pittsburgh, I was not happy with the baritone balance. I was not happy with the baritone balance. I'm like, this is not working. We have too many leads and not enough baritones, and there's this kind of, you know, lead bass situation and kind of this empty feeling in the middle. Less than 2 weeks before the contest in Pittsburgh, I went up to Lucas and I said, Lucas, you are going to have both. Lucas is a lead. I said, Lucas, you're going to have both contest songs memorized in baritone by the time the next rehearsal happens. Go. And he did it.
Okay.
And he's an awesome baritone.
And he's an awesome baritone. And yeah. And so he was like, you know what? If this is going to make our result better, I'm going to do it. And it did. It just gave a lot more sort of fill. And so to my ear, I was much more happy with the result, you know, going into that week in Pittsburgh. And thank goodness he memorized 2 songs in baritone in like a few days. He worked his butt off to do that. Yeah.
Maybe just 1 or 2 more questions.
Yeah. A couple. You've had your hand up for a while, I think. Yeah.
Once you feel that you've got this worked out, okay, subsequent weeks, do you ask people to remember their exact or approximate position? And also, and I know you don't probably deal with this in Central Standard, but for other choruses, as people don't show up for rehearsal, as new people come in, how can you suggest we might work with that?
Yeah.
So i.e. people are gone 1 week, okay, what do we do? Close in, new people show up next week. Where do we put it?
Okay, so the first point is everything that you deal with in your choruses, we deal with in our chorus, and we're probably like many, many times worse in many areas. You would be really surprised. So yeah, we deal with all of it, I promise you. And yeah, so we have massive holes on the risers at times. There are nights like that, right? In rehearsal, I tend not to fill in the gaps. We just stay where we are.
So exact location.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if we're faced with a performance situation where like there's this big hole where it's just going to be unsightly and people are going to be like, what's going on? Yeah, we're going to fill that in a bit. But again, in rehearsal, I don't bother with that. Everybody just kind of does their regular thing. Okay. And then
there's a psychological component there too. In Central Standard, where everyone is a brother, you have a brother missing when he's not there, right? And you feel when you have to miss that you left a spot there, and the other guys feel your absence. It's very, very important for the guys.
Yeah, so what Ben just said is, yeah, we intentionally keep that spot open because in CS we've just become a really, really, really tight family. We spend more time hanging out together outside of rehearsal time than we do in rehearsal time, and not because we spend a little time rehearsing. You know, we've just all kind of become best friends with each other. You know, somebody's not doing something, you know, post on Facebook, hey, who wants to, and like 15 of us will just go out together. And so we save your spot for you, and you know, we miss you when you're not there, and you know that your space is there waiting for you to come back.
So 6, 8 people were not there for this process. Now they show up.
We integrate them. So if 6 or 8 people miss voice placement, we go through the warm-up, we sing a few songs. After we've gone through the warm-up, sung a few songs, then we'll row, row, row and fit them in. But again, if it's just 6 or 8 people, we already have our order, right? It's just blah, 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 blah. Okay, your voice goes there, done, boom. You know, so it might take 3 or 4 minutes to integrate the people that aren't there. Important point I forgot to make is make sure that you warm up and sing a bit, right? Because as people's voices warm up and you get singing and you get comfortable, things change. If the very first thing you do at the beginning of the night is voice place, and then as people's voices warm up and the sound changes a little bit, you'll find that halfway through the night you need to do it all over again. So make sure that you've sung a little bit before you do this process.
One thing I'll add to that is that this is not something that we do once a year. We do it once a quarter.
Yeah, once a quarter on average.
Particularly relevant as we get towards a show or a competition. We just want to fine tune it to make sure that, hey, this guy's been getting lessons, or this guy's, you know, chilling out a little bit, and we can just kind of, oh yeah, now their voice is changing, it's larger or whatever, it's more efficient, so we're just constantly messing with the order.
3 guys got transferred, right? Yeah. And we got some other new members, and even in the unlikely situation that we didn't lose a single member, we didn't gain a single member, and not a single person's voice changed, we would still voice place, just because singers, no matter how much they say they want to do really, really well, left in the same situation for too long, our listening can get complacent. And so that's why we want to be doing this at least 3 times a year, if not 4 times a year, just so that our singers don't get too comfortable in their surroundings. Just by mixing things up, the product will improve.
Let's take one more question. You guys have been awesome. Really great participation. Thank you so much. Tom.
I noticed in the contest, last year you were probably the only one with this spacing. And this year there were very few smaller choruses that didn't use it.
How about that?
Out of the 29. And I also noticed that if they're filling the risers too much for normal 2-foot spacing, they were doubling, tripling on the ends. And you were doing that too. The last 2-3 rows were closer together, and then the spacing in the middle was pretty average. That's what I noticed out of almost every small chorus.
Yeah, you should come to the Central States District. Yeah, so what he was saying, it was an observation more than a question, is that last year in Pittsburgh we were one of the few courses with a larger spacing. Now it seems like more smaller courses are adopting that. I know that that's something that part of the Smorgas chorus also. And again, that reinforces that idea that you're in charge of this space, you're not competing with the voices around you, and it's a much more conducive to a healthier vocal production.
I think we found that a lot of choruses have experimented with this and have found that they have a much more unified sound, a much bigger sound, a much bigger presence, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that they found benefit in it. So yeah, we are starting to see some more choruses experiment with spacing, and just what a cool thing. Yeah.
Thanks guys for participation.
Yeah, thank you.